Good, y'all. We are back in the garage because, well, it is that time again. We're at 533 rounds to the 6.5 PRC now. So it's time to take a look down the bore, get it cleaned, see what kind of erosion we have going in the throat, see what we have copper buildup, and just see the overall condition of how this bore is going. By all accounts, we are now 1/3 of the way through the bore's life. So y'all sit back, kick your feet up, enjoy the ride. Okay, and before we get going too far along, I want to apologize for any noise that may be coming through the microphones. There's a tree trimming crew working in the area, and hopefully the microphone can knock their noise down. So you may hear some chainsaws, you may hear some tree trippers, wood chippers. Hopefully we don't hear any pedos scream. Well, maybe we should hear pedos scream, but that's beside the point. 6.5 PRC. We just took it out beyond 1,000 yards. That video should be up already. I'm not going to spoil it just in case it didn't, but watch for it. Since the last time we cleaned, I did finally find a universal bore guide. Problem is, it still doesn't want to work with my cheek riser. So I have to set everything back up again. But we've got the bore guide. What we'll do first is we're actually going to take 2 looks down the bore dirty. Somebody had mentioned they didn't want to see the bore through the mirror. They wanted to just look down the bore. So we will try that first off and see how that looks. To me, usually when you do that, it just looks like a sewer pipe. You're not really getting a view of what the bore looks like, but we'll give it a try. Alrighty, well, I got my borescope set up. I do not have the mirror on it right now. We are running without the mirror. Let me get set in here and figure out where we need to go. Here we go. It says we're recording. So this is inside the bore guide. Inside the bore guide, here's the boot where it joins into the chamber. And there we go. We can see the shoulder. We can see the neck, the throat. I can kind of see the erosion here. It'll look better in the mirror, I think. And then here we go, just down the bore. Looks like a sewer pipe. There's almost 100 and it's either 110 or 115 rounds since the last time we looked. So, bore just looks dirty. I can see those black spots again. We'll see how they look in the mirror. And yeah, there's a big black spot right there. Okay, and there's the muzzle brake. Well, let's take a look at how the muzzle brake's looking. I never really noticed. Interesting, I don't know if that's erosion or if that was actually manufactured like that. Okay, let me put the mirror on and we'll take a better look. Now, nice thing with the bore guide, I don't have to worry about clipping the mirror inside, coming out of the chamber and racking it on the receiver. So we'll spin this on here, and here we go. And here we go, now with the mirror. We're in the bore guide. There's the seal. There's the shoulder. There's the erosion. Can I turn that light up a little bit? I think the light's all the way up. The erosion's definitely grown. We'll know more when we look at it clean. Not seeing any. Well, look right there. Looks like we're starting to get some flame cracking in the rifling. See it there in the reflection from the light? We couldn't see that without the mirror. We got copper. We got carbon. And the last outing with it there, shooting beyond 1,000 yards, I actually got the gun hot for a change. So that might have a little something to do with the cracking. Interesting. That line goes all the way around. It's like a straight line. Let's see if we can figure out just where that is so we can check when it's clean. So it is, that line is right about here, out by the muzzle, about 6 inches back from the muzzle. Okay. Yep, there's that line. So okay, and we got lots of copper there. So we'll see how that looks once we get the first bit of cleaning on it. Okay. Now I'm not going to bore y'all with actually watching me clean. I'm going to run some solvent on a patch. We'll run it through till it's clean, then I'll bring it back when we take a look. Okay, there's the seal, there's the shoulder. Oh yeah, definitely starting to see some erosion there. I think that's a piece of thread from the patch. But look at that. Definitely starting to see some flame cracking in the rifling there. Just starting. Looks like we got a lot of copper all the way back here and a lot of carbon. A little bit of bare metal and copper. Other than that, everything else seems to be looking good. It just needs to be cleaned. Got a nice deposit of copper there. I didn't notice the line. Maybe I was going too fast. Now we'll see if we can find it when the gun's clean and dry. Okay, while we're letting the carbon cleaner soak in the bore for a few minutes. I'm not using CLR this time. I'm using a commercial carbon cleaner. And funny thing is, it on my hands feels just like CLR. Has the same slick feeling. Smells different, but has the same slick feeling. And I need to find a brush to clean out the break on my rifle here. I noticed there was a little bit of carbon buildup, actually building up inside the break. Whew. So, yeah, taking this rifle out beyond 1,000 yards. We were shooting it a little bit quicker. Had some heavy wind. Trying to get the follow-up shots on before the wind changed again. It was dicey wind. It was like 20 miles an hour. From the shooting line, it was coming behind us. Partway to the target, it was full value from the left. at the target. It was full value from the right. Yeah, it was interesting wind conditions. Shot the gun a little bit hotter than I normally do, and maybe that's why the gun seems a little bit dirtier. It's not that much more than we normally put on it between looking at it, but who knows? So we're going to let the carbon cleaner cook for a couple more minutes. I'm going to suck on a little bit more coffee, and I'll get the bore dried out, and then we'll take a look and see what the copper looks like. Okay, this will be the last dry patch after carbon cleaning. Let's see how that's looking. Well, we still got a little bit in there, but should be dry enough that we can take a look. And as always, like somewhere, either I'm at the range with fighter jets, C-17s, or here, I got a plane flying overhead over the house. I don't know if y'all can hear that or not. But let's, oh no, my coffee. Whew, saved it, cat-like reflexes. That's what I get for putting it on the floor. Okay, here we go. Let's take a look down the bore after carbon cleaning. It's still a little bit wet there in the shoulder. But there's the erosion now. That has definitely grown. Looks like it's growing pretty evenly. And while we have a little bit of copper, what in the world? Oh, it looks like a piece of trash. We'll get that cleaned out. While we do have a little bit of copper early on here, you can also see that there's a little bit of flame cracking starting. Just a little bit. Doesn't look as bad as when it was really dirty. And it looks like we have layered copper and carbon. This might take multiple cleanings. There's the line. That is the weirdest thing. I've never seen that. It goes all the way around. It's got to be where two pieces of metal were forged together. Maybe. I can't see an inclusion being... Ah, that's what it is. It's... If you look at 12 o'clock on the mirror, there's like a piece of wood chip or something, and that's what fell off in the bore. Okay, we'll get that cleaned out here in a minute. Okay, lots of copper left. Or lots of copper there. We'll get in there with copper cleaner. We'll let it soak for a little bit. And we'll take a look. Okay, well I've got 3 wet patches down the bore, wet with copper cleaner. And anybody that's cleaned copper knows what it smells like here right now. Whoo! That ammonia smell is strong. We're going to let those 3 wet patches cook in the bore for a little bit. They came out very blue, bright blue, fading blue. I'm not going to keep running wet patches till it's clean. I've got a nylon brush that will run through there once it's cooked a little bit. I can see by the camera that my battery is almost done. So I'm going to run my mouth for a minute before I change battery. And I've had people, why are you doing this when you clean your gun? And if you went so far to remove copper, why didn't you remove all of it? Or why did you remove all of the copper? That's what's making the gun accurate. Long story short, it's my rifle. And the only time I now want to clean it all the way down to bare metal is if I'm going to go and shoot a copper bullet. I saw Backfire TV did a piece, talked with Ron Spomer, and they seem to have proved that if you've been shooting lead core and you just go shoot copper, the copper doesn't shoot for squat. I don't know, I might take it all the way down to bare metal and shoot copper, but not this go, because I did try to set my zero stop on my scope. I set it, tried doing it before we went out to the ranch. I screwed that up horribly. I was 7 mils. I was hitting 7 mils low at 100 yards. It's a good thing I checked zero before we went. Got the gun re-zeroed. Everything was fine. This morning, I did it, hopefully properly, knock on wood, and when I go shoot my following shots, we'll find out if I've got my zeros still. So, okay. I'm going to let this cook for a little bit more while I change the battery. I'll bring y'all back in a little bit. Sit tight. Well, we let the copper cleaner cook for a little bit. I ran a nylon brush through. I ran a bunch of dry brushes through, or dry patches through. And let's see how we're looking now. Yeah, I still need to get in there and dry the shoulder. And there's the throat. We still got a little copper. You can see the flame cracking starting right there in the middle of the screen. And looks like we have another layer of carbon. So it looks like I'm going to have to come back in with carbon cleaner. Hit it again. Looks like we're picking up copper again. Not too bad, just a nice even layer. There's the ring, so we know we're about 6 inches from the barrel, muzzle. Got copper and carbon there. Okay, yep, I'm going to have to hit it with carbon cleaner once again. So I'll bring you back. Well, while we're letting second run of copper cleaner cook in the bore for a little bit, whew. Yeah, I'm starting to think that back here, what I thought was carbon, might not have been carbon. Might still be some of the black finish that hasn't worn off yet. So, with the black finish, if you go back and, if you're new to the channel, if you go back and look at the very first look down the bore, before a round was ever fired, the bore has the same black finish on the inside as it does on the outside. And as we've been shooting along and looking every 100 rounds or so, give or take, we've been seeing the finish, the bullets wearing through the finish. And at 500 rounds, I guess I just immediately assumed that they'd worn through all the finish. So what we saw here and a couple of small spots along here might still be finish and not carbon. Because I ran the carbon cleaner and it didn't come out dirty. So we went back in, we got copper cleaner cooking right now, and we'll see how it does. And while we were doing that and y'all were turned off, we got a text from Hootie Hoo. So had a little chat with Hootie Hoo while I was cleaning the rifle, and y'all were waiting to be brought back. So that was pretty cool. Okay, we're going to let it cook for a couple more minutes. I'll get it scrubbed out, and we'll take another look. Alrighty, well, let's get one last look down the bore here, because whatever's left in the bore, that's what we're running with. Bore camera is running. That's the shoulder. And there's our erosion. Definitely growing. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And you can see the start, the beginning flame cracking. That dark right there, that is the finish. That's not carbon. You can see a little bit of maybe flame cracking right in there in the grooves. All in all, not bad, not bad. Definitely worn through the finish, through the middle. Rifling's still looking nice and sharp. I think that is the line that is 6 inches from the muzzle. And there's just the slightest hint of copper and a little bit of finish left right in there. And well, I need to dry out the muzzle brake. Okay, you don't want to leave liquid in your muzzle brake, because those first shots will be way off. Okay, let me get that dried out. I'll bring it back. Actually, now that we are cleaned up, we're going to take one more look down the bore without the mirror. Let's see how it looks cleaned. There's the shoulder. I still need to get in there with a mop. There's our throat erosion. Oh, there's a ring. Interesting. Let's see where that is in relation to the... So that ring is right about here, just under the joint between the scope and the sunshade. Oh, these little rings all the way down. Maybe that is an artifact of the rifling. Maybe the broach was stopping as it was pulling the button through. I bet that's what it is. That is probably an artifact of the broach pulling the button through, creating the rifling. And see the dark there, that is leftover finish. The brake is looking much cleaner. Still a little bit to be dried right there, but okay, interesting. Couple of things learned. There's interesting rings all the way down the bore. My suspicion is, as I said when we were scoping it, it's probably an artifact from button rifling. So when they do a button rifling, they'll have a long run of barrel material, and it will be bored. And they have a machine called a broach. And that brooch will push a rod down that bore. They'll thread a button on the end of the rod and then pull that button through. The last time I did that, it was like a 30-foot stick of barrel material. And the brooch just keeps pulling that button through. The button presses out on the barrel, engraving the rifling. And then as the button continues up, the barrel relaxes, should be to the nominal size of the bore. And that just looks like maybe the brooch was not being pulled through smooth. Doesn't seem to be affecting the accuracy on this rifle, because when I hit the right loads, it nuts up and shoots a good group. So, not complaining about that. I just found it interesting. Probably 96% of the copper's cleaned out of the bore. We'll let that little bit set in there. And now we get to start all over again. I hope I set my zero stop right. We'll find out when I shoot the following shots. Using the bore guide was a nice change of pace. Downside to using the bore guide, once you remove the cheek piece, there's a sharp edge right here. That sharp edge likes to catch fingernails. It doesn't feel good. Yeah, ripped my social fingernail pretty good hitting this sharp edge. My problem. It'll heal. Whew. Okay. With all that being said, hey, like the shirt says, stay strapped or get clapped. Carry everywhere you can. Get a CCW if you need one. If you're in a constitutional carry state, get a CCW anyways. You may travel. If you like this shirt, there's a link below to the store. There's other shirts there, but I'm now kind of partial to stay strapped or get clapped, and everyone's a hero at the 7-yard line myself. There's also coffee cups, tumblers, and beer glasses. With all that being said, it's Halfmilesniper reminding you, stay safe, keep shooting. We'll catch you next time.
Send it. Hit.